You to the 100th birthday party. We all know what a great guy he is. And you all are great for coming. We've got people here from California. We have people from Pennsylvania. We have people from Virginia. We have people from Palm Beach County, where they're still counting. We have people from North Carolina, family, New Jersey, and the best place of all, Hollybrook. Yay! That's right. We've got a nice dinner planned for you. And very shortly, some of the servers, you remember you made a choice for dinner. And I need you to remember that choice right now. Because the servers will come around and ask you what your choice is and what you put down. And they'll give you a chip that is indicative of the choice you made. And no cheating. No cheating.
What if you don't remember?
If you don't remember, you know you love prime rib. Most of you have prime rib. You like chicken, you like fish, and there is a lonely vegetarian in the room. Okay. So, the next thing I would like to do is I would like to introduce the head table to you, because you're going to be eating, and some of you will be watching us, and you should know who you're watching eating.
And we're watching you.
Yeah, and we're watching you. So, who is there?
Ari.
Oh,
Ari.
that is Murray Rubin, my nephew. This is his girlfriend, Deborah Lipson. This is my niece, Jay's daughter, Emily Brett, and her boyfriend, Stuart Case. This is my sister-in-law, Roann, Jay's wife. This is my brother, Jay Rubin, birthday boy. This is my son, Jeffrey Pettifer. And this is my granddaughter, Aubrey Pettifer, and my granddaughter, Kathi. Andrea. So, after dinner, we're going to have a program, and some of us here will be addressing my dad with some anecdotes or a thought or two. And after we're finished, we invite anyone. We will invite you if you'd like to say something to my dad. You'll be perfectly welcome to, and we'll walk the mic around. Oh, he says, you tell him.
As long as it's good.
So I hope you enjoy your dinner, and we will chat with you later.
All right.
Oh, and one more thing, not ready yet. I believe we have some local governmental officials. Is it? Yeah, sure. We've got people here from California. We have people from Pennsylvania. We have people from Virginia. We have people from Palm Beach County. Dad, make a wish, blow it out, and we'll sing happy birthday. Blow them out. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Murray. Happy birthday to you.
As you can tell, I've been trying to get him to adopt me. He won't do that, but it's still working on it. But however, the city of Pembroke Pines heard about this celebration tonight, and it said a couple of dignitaries over here to address Murray and celebrate with him. First, we have our mayor, Mayor Frank Ortis, who is here. Now, Murray's tough, so Mayor Ortis brought along some more help. The vice mayor, Tom Good. So we have Mayor Ortis and Vice Mayor Good, and I think they've got something for Murray.
We do.
You do. They never come empty-handed.
Wonderful.
All right.
How are you? Congratulations. I want to look as good as you. How are you?
How are you? Hello. Hi, everybody. Hi, Andy. How are you? Well, the Vice Mayor and I are here to celebrate your great birthday. And God, if I could look this good at that age, I am. We've got things to look forward to, Vice Mayor. I tell you, you look great, and you're so alert. So what we want to do from the city of Pembroke Pines is we want to recognize you. The whole city of 170,000 people want to celebrate your birthday tonight. So Vice Mayor is going to read the proclamation we've addressed to you. Vice Mayor, if you would.
Just read until the last part, but I have to say my name.
Then I have to give it over. Congratulations, Murray. 100 years old. Amazing. So we at the City of Pembroke Pines are celebrating through a proclamation Murray Rubin 100th birthday. So the proclamation reads, whereas Murray Rubin was born on November 28, 1918 in Manhattan, New York. Whereas Murray is a World War II veteran who saw extensive action as an Army combat medic. Thank you for your service, too, sir. Murray met his wife, Sylvia, after the war. They were married on October 27, 1946 in New York City, and they enjoyed 60 years together. And whereas Murray and Sylvia had 2 children, a son and a daughter, who are both very successful, they have 4 grandchildren and 2 great-grandchildren. Amazing. Whereas Murray and Sylvia are original owners in Hollybrook, for many years, their condo in Hollybrook was a winter escape from their home in Massachusetts. And whereas Murray was a salesman for most of his career, selling everything from encyclopedias to academic texts, he became regional manager for McGraw-Hill Books and ultimately opened import-export stores along the American-Canadian border before he retired. And whereas prior to retirement, Murray was active in countless local charitable activities, civic action, and fraternal organizations, including the Knights of Pythias. Pythias. I'm learning. And whereas Murray is still a volunteer at Memorial Manor, and he participates in and supports local veteran groups. And whereas Murray is a caring man who drives friends to doctor appointments, the grocery store, and sometimes runs other errands, Murray continues to check on his friends and helps any way he can. He is the first to step up and has never been asked. And whereas Murray lives alone and plays golf 2 to 3 times a week, he is a computer literate and spends hours daily on his computer. Murray even has a Facebook account.
So now that we know that, how many strokes, Commissioner Schechter, how many strokes does he have to give me?
You, I think 3. Me, he gives 2.
Oh, okay. When'd you get your first hole in one?
He was 89.
He doesn't remember.
In his 80s.
Wow.
No, he was 89 when he got his first hole in one.
Unbelievable. All right, that was good, Vice Mayor. But now, therefore, I, Frank C. Ortis, as mayor of the great city of Pembroke Pines, do hereby deem it an honor and a pleasure to extend this proclamation to Murray Rubin on the occasion of his 100th birthday with sincere congratulations and best wishes from all of the residents and the commission of the city of Pembroke Pines. Congratulations.
I want to acknowledge all the hard work that my sister Andrea has put into it. Trust me, folks, if it had been left up to me alone, you would have been having hot dogs and hamburgers at the barbecue near the pool in Hollywood. Or you might have been sharing a pizza at Umberto's. Or, best of all, Grand Slam pancakes at Denny's. What do you say? What do you say about a parent who you have been blessed enough to reach 100 years? Well, you can say that you have known this person all your life, and Daddy, I love you, but just because you're 100 doesn't make you a saint. But of the people I know, you come damn close. Damn close. When I was thinking about what I could say, and I'm going to give a toast, and then you'll bear with me, and I'll tell a couple of anecdotes after that. But in terms of a toast, what do you say? Well, my dad, or almost, I guess we'll all agree, in different ways in this room, Murray Rubin makes people's lives easier. Murray Rubin is not drama. Murray Rubin is a good friend, a good father, responsible, and just does what a decent man would do. He makes it easy. He makes it easy for family. He makes it easy for friends. And he makes it easy for me to give the catchphrase that I'll have the toast to. Many of you have heard my dad's favorite line. He never says, "How are you?" It's usually, "Dad, what's the good word?" And tonight, the good word is Murray. So if we could all raise our glasses, toast a good man, my father, my role model, who I love, which we all love. We're all here because of that. The good word, Murray Rubin. Because it's engaging, it's interested. If someone said, "How are you?" we could all say fine and be dismissed. If you say, "What's the good word?" you have to be engaged. You have to answer. You have to have a meaningful conversation. The master of meaningful conversations. My two children, Brett and Ari, would often say to me, "Dad, you could strike up a conversation with a refrigerator."
And he does.
And so do they. But I learned from a master who could strike up a conversation with a refrigerator, a freezer, and a stove, and all the same time. Dad has a way with words. And you'll bear with me because if I go a little bit off, I
4
decided...
minutes.
What?
4 minutes.
4 minutes. The heck with it.
Okay.
I'm the son, I get dispensation. I decided to have a few drinks and maybe ramble a little bit and have a good time. Then read the prepared. Who gives a crap? Murray Rubin is a wordsmith. Words, communication, making people feel good, selling products is what he's all about. Making it easy. Many of you may not know that this guy was a burlesque barker on 42nd Street in New York City in his youth, cajoling people to come into the girly shows. Okay. On the other end of the spectrum, a World War II soldier, like many of you, including one of the heroes in the back table, right there with us. Dad tells stories about the war, and I was just talking to some friends of his at this table over there. He will tell the funny stories about the war. He will not talk about his times as a battlefield medic at the Battle of Salerno, which was one of the deadliest battles in World War II in Italy. He will not talk about the liberation of concentration camps. That is, it's not that. It's not that. It's how are you? Fine. Makes people feel good. Makes people feel good. And probably the conversational ability that worked at his best was with his pen pal, a certain woman during World War II, who, like many young ladies during the war, felt it was her patriotic duty to write letters to soldier boys in Europe. Well, this woman, my mom, who was writing letters, when the war was over and Dad was coming home, and Dad was on his way. Daddy was it Chicago or Detroit that you were heading off to see that other woman? Which one? One of those two cities. But my grandmother, he called my mother just to say thank you for the letters. And my grandmother said, invite the soldier boy for dinner. And my mother wasn't so sure because my mother was engaged for a long time to another guy. Soldier boy came for dinner. The man who came for dinner never left. We joked that the woman in Chicago or Detroit is still waiting. And my grandmother, my Nana, used to joke, and she adored her son-in-law, but she used to joke that it was the biggest mistake that she ever made because her daughter was engaged to a rich lawyer. And she invited the penniless soldier boy over. Mom and Dad. Dad charmed her at first with his letters, which I've read. And then he charmed her in many ways. And while she was engaged to another guy, she said that she knew that he was going to disrupt all the plans the first time they were walking down the street, and he took her hand, and it felt more right than anything else in her life ever did before that. Mom and Dad were romantic. Had fun together, and lived the same suburban life that many of you. We would watch TV after dinner, but Mom and Dad always were touching and poking and hitting each other. When I was a kid, I used to be amazed because my mom, polar opposite. My dad, easygoing, willing to give everybody a benefit of the doubt. My mom, passionate, hard on her sleeve, feisty, didn't suffer fools lightly. A great combination who balanced each other. And they had a lot of fun together. I used to remember my mom was never shy with her words. And she would be yelling about my father getting something out of her system. And my dad would be sitting in his chair, not saying anything, playing the good husband, yes dear, yes dear. If she carried on too much, he'd go, Sylvia! And then she'd stop. But what I could never understand as a child, and I understand now, was there was benefits to it. Because after every fight, as a kid, they were fighting, and then the next minute they were running around the house and my father was grabbing her behind. There was good makeup, whatever going on. The life went on. My father up from nothing, successful, the book business, as it was mentioned in the proclamation, the liquor business. I am thrilled to say that my dad's best friend and his first partner when he was 18 years old selling the New York Post in the streets, that partner's daughter-in-law and 3 grandsons, different parts, but mostly based in California, are sitting at the table right there. My father's kids, I'm going with you to these well reps. My father's 94-year-old kid sister couldn't make it here tonight. But her daughter-in-law and her grandson from California are here. It's a tribute to my dad. And I can say I am blown away that people, and all of you, especially those who came distances, I can say it blows me away, but it really doesn't. Because that's my dad. He had a romance with my mother, and I will say for romance, for about 60 years. And give me the flash. No. Pop had one request. Andrea put everything together. But Pop had one request. That this plaque of him and my mom, his girl, on his wedding day, which was taken at the 50th anniversary party we did, his sole request was this would be front and center, as it was, to give my mom. When my mom, who had a rich, full life, and they had a wonderful life together, was ill towards the end. Life happens. My sister and I used to fight with my father. Get help. Get help. You can't do this by yourself. And his being Murray and making a joke out of everything and making it easy would be, I don't want a health aide that I got to entertain sitting in the kitchen with me. But then in a deeper moment, he said, everything I am, I give credit to your mother about it. That's how he felt. They adored each other. And Dad, I think you will understand if I ask everyone to raise their glass as well to your partner, Murray's girl, who is here tonight in spirit and is responsible. He's the man he is, but there was an assist going on that's got to be acknowledged as well. To my mom, Sylvie. Thank you.
Okay, so there we go. Better. I went through the same process. When we decided we were going to celebrate 100 years, my brother and I knew we would have to say something, and we would want to say something. And so, like my brother, I thought, what am I going to talk about my dad? I mean, I've known him all my life, and when you know somebody for all the years I've known him, there's lots to say. Maybe I could talk about what a hard-working guy he is. But he retired at 52. So you know how hardworking he was. Okay? He worked, when I was growing up, 6 days a week.
Sometimes 7.
Sometimes 7. Would go to Boston, 45 minutes away, work all day long, come home for supper at 6 promptly, and then turn around and go back out and not come home till 10 or 11 o'clock at night, trying to sell books or food or whatever he was doing in the moment. When he and his... No, I'm going to be a while too. So, I mean, you know, my husband used to say, don't ever give that girl a microphone. ever. It's dangerous. Anyway, and when they went into the liquor business, he was away for months and months on end, so much so the neighbors thought they were divorced. And in the liquor business, 7 days a week, 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. And at 9 p.m., then you do the inventory. Then you count the money. Dennis and I used to go in the room without the window because we all worked in the summer and sit on the floor and count. It's lovely. Anyway, so I could say he was hardworking. I could say, maybe I would talk about the playful Murray, but my brother has covered that. Playful Murray, who literally would sing one line, Dancing with the Moon, and literally dance around the house to amuse my mother. Literally. I could talk about Murray's kindness or his generosity, but you know that. Every person in this room knows his kindness and his generosity. So I'm going to talk about two things. I'm going to talk about my father's strength and his stoicism, because it helped me at a very difficult time in my life. And I'm also going to talk, Dad, about your integrity. I have never, in my many decades of life, met anyone with the integrity and honesty of my father. Okay? And I'll tell you a couple stories. My father is a very strong man, and he is from that generation, Depression era, where they had to be strong and resilient and stoic, and that carried him through his life. And I will tell you, when my nephew Ari was bar mitzvahed, I had to tell my dad and my mother, who really didn't understand because she was pretty far down the path of Alzheimer's, that my dear second husband, who was the love of my life, had ALS. My husband and I had agreed that we would not tell anybody on the phone, that we wanted to be in person, and he said, because now they can see I'm still fine, and they won't get as upset. My husband, too, was a good man. So, at the night before Ari's bar mitzvah, Jay and Roann had a dinner at the synagogue, and I pulled my father aside. And now I am the little girl who wants to tell her dad, her daddy, that she's in a bad place. And I pulled him aside. You remember, Dad? You remember. And I said to him, Dad, I have very bad news. I said, Vic has ALS. And for those of you who may not know, that is a terminal illness. There is no cure. It's Lou Gehrig's disease. For those of you who don't know what they also call it Lou Gehrig's. And here I am, wanting to be comforted. And I think my dad will put his arm around me and say, oh, you poor girl. Oh, I'm so sorry for you, sweetheart. Do you know what he said to me? He said to me, Andrea, stiff upper lip. He needs you now. And I was quite pissed. I wanted my dad to comfort me. But I will tell you, in the darkest days of my husband's illness, when I thought I couldn't do it one more minute, I would go in a room and my father's words would resonate. And I would hear him say to me, stiff upper lip, Andrea. He needs you. And it got me through. Dad, you don't know how many tough places in that 2 years while he was ill that phrase, those phrases got me through. And it gave, his strength was transferred to me. His stoicism was the best thing he could say to me. He loved my husband, right? My father loved my husband. He was a great guy. Anyway, so the other thing I want to talk to you about is integrity, which you may not know about my father, because he is the man who never met the stranger. He's the guy who's happy to find any passenger to drive, right? He's very happy about that. So maybe you don't know about his integrity. When I was a little girl, I would listen in another room as my mother and father sat at the kitchen table to prepare taxes. My mother would say, because he generally had his own business or was a salesperson who had an expense account, she would say, "Murray, isn't there another dinner you can put down as an expense to deduct? Isn't there something else? How about a little more gas? How about some more mileage?" And my father would say, "Sylvia, I do not do that. That's not honest." He may have been, when he worked for McGraw-Hill, he was a region manager for McGraw-Hill, and he was called to New York, and he worked in outside of Boston, actually in Providence, and he was called to New York. And he said, "Oh my goodness, I'm being called on the carpet," because he didn't know why he was being called to headquarters in New York. And sure, of course he knows this. He was there. His boss calls him in, sits him down, says, "Murray," he says, "you are making us all look too bad." And my father says, "What are you talking about?" He says, "Your expense account is too low." He says, and my father said, "But that's all I spend." The guy says, No. He says, "You better do better next time." That was many, many years ago when he was much younger. When he was 99 3/4, this summer in August, I came and visited with my dad for about 3 weeks, and we went to Publix, and we bought some food, and we checked out, and we walked to the car. And my father said to me at the car, "I think the cashier gave me the wrong change." And I said, like my mother, "Come on." I said, "It'll be all right." And he said to me, "No." He said, "What if she has to make up the difference, the cashier? What if she has to make up the difference?" And that almost 100-year-old man in August turned around while I waited at the car and walked back to Publix and returned that wrong change to that woman. Small stories, but important stories. And for me, they are very important because those are the life lessons. Kindness, playfulness, generosity, hard work, strength, stoicism, and integrity. Those are the things I have taken as lessons from my dad. And I thank you for that. And I love you.
I love you too.
Okay.
Thank you, Andrea. And the one thing I will add, and Dad, you can testify, is after that meeting at McGraw-Hill, where his boss told him that his low expense account was ruining it for everyone and potentially jeopardizing his job, my mother and my father went out to a lot fancier dinners than they ever did before. I want to walk around. We're going to start with the head table, if anybody would like to add stuff. Jeffrey, you're the first to nod, so I'll give it to you. We'll talk, and then we're going to throw it open to the floor, and I will pour water on my Father's head as we declare him the Messiah.
I want to say a couple of things. We were supposed to address you, Pop, with some wonderful anecdotes and stories that we could share. And the first thing I would say is I love you very much. There are a lot of things that you taught me that, you know, as I was reflecting on what to say, I had to think back. I have a few passions in my life. Number one is sports, and my pop taught me how to play golf. But one of the lessons that he taught me more importantly was through the game of golf, and that was to finish what you start. But make sure you finish it well and the right way. When I was 13, 14 years old, I could easily outdrive my pop. You know, I would hit 200, 250-yard drives, and my pop would be catching up to me. And then when we got on the green, I was from one side to the other side, to the other side, to the other side, before I could get the ball in the hole. So as we left the hole, my pop told me a very valuable life lesson. Does anybody know what that life lesson is? Some of his golfing buddies may know. You drive for show, and you putt for dough. So that was the first lesson. Make sure you finish, and finish well. The second one, and this is one of my biggest passions, probably the biggest one of all, and that's my passion for food. And little did I know that my pop would have a huge influence on that, and my nan too. For you see, every Sunday night, we would get together for dinner with my grandparents, and my grandparents would drag us to Morrison's cafeteria every single Sunday. Now, it's not that Morrison's offered a great deal of food or great food, but they offered a variety of food. And it was that curiosity that I had to try a lot of different things in that cafeteria. And so what I've done is, through my parenting of my two daughters, is that whenever we travel somewhere, one of the things we like to do is explore a variety of different ethnic foods, different cultures, and we've sort of explored the world through food. And if I didn't have that experience of trying things at Morrison's when I was a younger child, I may not have that passion today. So, what's the good word? The good word is, my pop's 100 years old, and as a 48-year-old grandson, that's a pretty cool thing to share with people. So thanks for sharing this with all of us, and enjoy the rest of the evening.
A middle grandson.
And then some great granddaughters too. They came along after.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hi everyone, so I'm Brett. I belong to Jay and Roann, and of course to my grandpa Murray. And I just want to say, and I'm only going to speak quickly because the older generation took up most of the time. It's their job. I hope to talk that long at my dad's 100th, you know, years and years from now.
Yes.
When I told all my friends back in Philadelphia that I was coming to Florida to celebrate my grandpa's 100th birthday, they all said, "Oh, that's so nice. Will he know that you're there?" I said, "Well, you know that I'm there." I said, "The man still plays golf, albeit maybe 9 holes, right, instead of 18. He still drives. And every time I call him, he says, 'What's the good word? What's going on?' And he is a hero, role model. I heard idol from someone else as I was talking to all of you. He's the man to meet, the man to beat, and he's just the best. And so the quick story I'll share, when I graduated college, I moved out to Las Vegas. Because you see, my grandpa gave me 2 great things, my beautiful blue eyes and my love for the casinos and gambling. So I was living out in Vegas, and at this time I had actually moved back to the East Coast, and he was turning 95 back 5 years ago. We said, "Pop, what do you want to do for your 95th? You know, maybe we'll get a crew together in Hollybrook." He said, "I want to go to Las Vegas." And we said, "Okay, Murray Rubin, you want to go to Las Vegas? We'll take you to Las Vegas." And so while we were in Las Vegas, and I think this is a photo from when we were there, we were joking. We said, "Okay, God willing, 5 years ago, Pop, you know, we'll bring you back to Las Vegas, and I, your granddaughter, will pay for you to do a round at the Wynn Golf Course." Well, the Wynn Golf Course was under construction. They were actually going to demolish it and put up a shopping mall. But an article came out recently that they are reviving the golf course, and in 2019 it's opening back up. So for your 101st Pop, if you still want to go to Vegas, I will take you back there. Yes, all right, sure. You can all come, you're paying your own way. I'll take care of that. But the 95th birthday was really special because not only did a bunch of us get to go, but his granddaughter, if you remember, Pop, hit a jackpot.
Yes.
So all this time that I've been playing high-low in my Nan and Pop's, condo and playing in the casino, I won $10,000. Yeah. Playing quick hits, yeah. And so my pop and my dad they escorted me out. They couldn't believe me that they were handing, this 25-year-old girl all this cash. But in any case, Pop, I love you. I'm so proud to have you as grandpa. Mwah. Mwah. And thank you all for coming. I mean, there's a lot of people in my generation, too, who have all said, he's their grandpa, too, right? He's a really special man, and I'm happy to share him. Someone I do share him with is my brother, so I'll turn it over to him. But thank you.
Real quick from me, I had the pleasure over the past couple months to put this video together of Pop and all his friends and family and everybody throughout the years, and it's just really a true treat. From 1920, where Pop was a little boy, to as recent as Father's Day a couple months ago. And it's just great to see everybody here and all that good stuff. So thank you. If anybody, I'll send a link to my aunt and my dad, and then they can send it out to everybody else so they can see all those photos. But thank you all for being here. It really means a lot, and I appreciate it. And to another few years and all that good stuff. So thank you very much.
As one of 3 people at the head table who does not have Rubin blood flowing through the veins, I was going to cede my time to the Rubins. But I do just want to tell you, and you know, how much I love you, Murray Rubin, Pop, Dad, and for those of you that my brother is here, he came with his wife from New Jersey, and others that have had the chance to really get to know you, and at the same time knew my dad, who I thought, and I know Jay has said this too before, was a man of such integrity and such a mensch and such a special guy. And to find on the other side of things a guy of equal menschness and integrity and wonder, I am just doubly blessed, double blessed. And I will just tell a very short story that this man is one of the best dates that you could ever have. Because it was only about, 8 years ago, my daughter and I were on a cruise. We came back from Fort Lauderdale. She was flying out that night, but I had a night before I was going back to Jersey, so I stayed over at Pop's. They said, well, what do you want to do? And I said, well, I don't know. And he says, why don't we go out to dinner, and then I'll take you to a movie. Do you remember that? And this guy doesn't really like to sit through movies, but I think he was trying to impress me. And I needed one thing. I wanted a special pair. I just wanted a pair of flip-flops or something, and I said I could get them at Target. Well, he did all the things I remember that he used to do with Nan, with Sylvia. He drove the car. He stopped at the mall. He parked it. He said, do you want me to wait in the car? I said, well, it shouldn't be too long. And he said, no, I'll take you in. I'll show you exactly where the flip-flops are. He took me right to the counter. He, looked and he said, you like this color? You like that color? I said, I'll take these. We walked out. Where do you want to eat? We went to Outback. We had a wonderful meal. What movie do you want to see? What?
Why did we go to Outback?
Because that was my favorite restaurant up north, right? But you had the roast beef or the steak there, right? And you kept going back yourself. So, it works both ways in terms of who's the teacher. And then we went to see, do you remember the movie? We went to see The King's Speech.
Oh, wow.
Beautiful movie, right? And I think he almost would have continued to go to a movie or two. He was so impressed with that. Anyway, it was just a delightful evening, and he opened the car door for me each time. Aww. And looked at me with those blue eyes, which his son was lucky enough to inherit. Hence 2 more, Rubins down the line. And I just think you are the man, the myth, the legend, Murray Rubin.
Wonder Woman, for those of us who know her.
So that was half my speech, was introducing myself. You just took it away from me. So, yes, Art. So Annette is Murray's little sister, and Art was her son, and I was blessed to be married to Art. And just like pretty much everybody else in Murray's life, Murray outlived Art. So I am here on behalf of the Bialik side of the family to tell a couple little stories about Murray. So when Art and I started dating, we'd been dating a few months, and he decided he had to bring me home to meet Mom and Dad. So I meet his parents. We went out to dinner, we spent a few hours together, and I got home and I thought, he's nothing like his parents. Who is he like? So we get married. A few years later, Murray and Sylvia come out to California to visit us, and I met Murray, and the circle was complete. Art is absolutely his uncle's spirit, personality, everything. It was just so obvious and made me feel so good because I finally put it all together. So my other story is Murray and Jay, 4 years ago, came out to California to visit his little sister.
My 90s road trip with my 96-year-old father.
Who, by the way, really kicked all the butts. So we have them all over to dinner, and Annette and her man left around 9 o'clock. She was 90 at the time, so they have to go home at 9 o'clock. All of a sudden, it's 12:30 in the morning, and Murray's still telling his stories and sitting at the table. And my son Mike, who came with me tonight, is so Mike and I are looking at each other. We're like, we gotta kick the 96-year-old out of the house because we gotta go to work tomorrow.
It was a Tuesday.
So that's my story, you know. Here he is, he's still kicking our butts, and we're all here celebrating his birthday, and I'm thrilled to be here to share it with you, Murray, because I just think you're terrific.
My husband and Murray were wonderful pals and wonderful friends. And although my husband was 13 years younger than Murray, he decided that he was going to take care of him. So he called him every night to make sure that he was all right. If he didn't hear from him, he said he has to call Murray. The truth of the matter is that Murray really took care of him. Anyway, when my husband became ill, you couldn't find a more generous, wonderful friend than Murray. He came every day to the hospital. He came every day to his recovery in Memorial Manor. And he's just a caring, wonderful, and giving person. But I want to tell you just one thing. They had a great partnership and friendship, but their best partnership was at the casino. My husband would tell me on Tuesday he had to go to the casino because Murray wanted to go. The truth of the matter is, he couldn't wait to go, right? And they were great partners, and they had great fun, and Murray and he would make a few dollars, and Murray would make him run, right, with the money, right? And many times, he would give me the money, right? He said, you only have this money because Murray made me walk out. And to this day, Murray and my son and myself, we still keep up the friendship. We have a Saturday night date at Applica, correct? And I just want to tell you, he's a wonderful person, and he deserves not only this accolade, but any more that you could give him. Thank you.
Partners, their wives, best friends, Jeanie, the daughter-in-law, mother of the 3 grandsons. Yeah.
Wow, it's an honor to be here, Murray. I want to begin by just again thanking
to a lesser extent Jay, but mostly Andrea. It was a beautiful event. I knew we were in for a good time when they started bringing out the coconut shrimp, and they had little crab stuff, and I thought, a bar mitzvah with treif. This is a good thing. So it's a lovely, lovely party, and thank you. And it's a beautiful testimony to you. I also want to begin with acknowledging Murray as a World War II vet. This is something very dear to my heart. I spend a lot of thought and energy on our vets, and I'd like, if you are a World War II vet, would you raise your hand? We've got a couple at that table over there, don't we? You're a World War II vet. Nice to meet you. I'm really proud to be and honored to be in your presence. And that's all serious. So, as Jay said, my sons came in from New York and California along with me. And I just want to say, Murray, I'm a little pissed off you didn't pick us up at the airport. I'm pretty sure half the people in this room have been picked up at the airport. And I'm thrilled that you're still driving. Although when you were about 62, I was pretty sure you should stop. And we came a long way to be at your 100th birthday. I fully intend for you to be at my 100th birthday. So it's a date. I made notes on the back of a receipt that apparently I undertipped. I don't know. One time, I spent time. I used to come, of course, all the time to be with my in-laws. This is my mother-in-law's jewelry I wore tonight because I knew some of you would recognize it and remember Fran and Sid with that. But I would often come to visit them, and I loved spending time with Murray and Sylvia. And you could always tell how much Murray loved Sylvia. And one time I said to him, "Tell me, Murray, tell me about how you met and falling in love with Sylvia." And he said, "Well, I'm a leg man." He says, "I'm a leg man." She had great legs, and her fanny too. And, so there was a real depth to that relationship.
He's a professional comedian.
True. As Jay kind of alluded, Sid and Murray, after the war, worked together in New York City, and they had a handshake deal to share their profits because selling was always up and down, and Sid had a family to support, and they had a handshake deal, and that handshake deal I think lasted for the rest of their lives. They shared and were business partners. I don't know if anything was ever in writing. But I do guarantee that if there was anything in writing, no one knew where it was. It was lost somewhere in a pile of papers. But that was a beautiful friendship, and I'm proud to represent that here. I do call Murray from time to time, and those of you who have picked up the phone and made the effort to reach out to Murray know that he just bursts through the phone. Jeanie! And there's so much life and love coming through the phone. And then you go on to laugh a bunch with Murray. And so if there's a secret to being here at 100, I would say that it's that. It's the life, the love, and the laughter. But I do want to point out that we are a week premature. Murray's birthday is actually November 28th. So, this whole thing is a bit bogus, but I'm sure he'll be at Joe's Crab Shack on his actual 100th birthday with a bib on. The only guy there probably won't need it. So I give you all my love, and you're the best, Murray. Thanks.
Tell you, my name is Linda. I'm Andrea's surrogate sister, which makes Murray my surrogate father, because I've known her for so long. And just want to share a couple of things with you. The first time that I met him was probably, 10, 15 years ago. And my husband and I were quite a bit younger, and he helped both of us up the steps because it was a long walk. And after that, if the doorbell rang, he got up to get the door because, why should we get up? Anyhow, very giving, loving person. One of the traditions I wanted to tell you, My husband's father, on everyone's birthday, gave them a silver dollar with their birth date on it. And I thought, what a great tradition. So I was going to do the same thing. Went to the coin store and asked for a 1918 silver dollar. Said, that's fine, whatever it is, I'll take the price. He said, it's $35,000. Oh my goodness, how can it be that much? In 1918, we were all melted down for the war. I said, but I have to present something. He said, how about a 1918 half dollar? I said, well, that's good, but you need something to show the 100th birthday. So I called the mint and I got a commemorative silver dollar for 2018. And that's what we're going to give you, along with the half dollar. Just for you.
Hey, Joe. Hey, Joe. First, I think we all owe a great round of applause to Andrea and Jay for arranging a super dinner party for a super guy. When I think of Murray, I think of a bunch of words which I had jotted down because I knew you would call on me. And,
You volunteered, Joe.
Yes. Okay. Unbelievable, incredible, extraordinary, great, super, and put Murray Rubin's name right in the middle of all of that, and you describe Murray Rubin. You know, we go to dinner with Murray several times a week, and the little things that he does, you can tell what kind of man he is. My wife rides in the back of the car, and I sit in the front with Murray, and we hold hands. When we park the car, he's the first one out opening the door for my wife. He's the first one who goes to the entrance of the restaurant and has the door open for us. I can never beat him. He always finds a parking spot closer to the restaurant so we wouldn't have to walk too much. Little things like this. Now, you all know that Murray likes to gamble. Well, he used to gamble when he was in the Catskills, had a poker game. Had a poker game down here in Florida, which dissipated, there's nobody around. He outlives everybody. And he likes to go to Vegas and shoot crack. He used to go to Cold Casino with Shelley Drazen to play the casino, the slot machines. But he learned his gambling, he thought he learned it, from a restaurant in New York, which some of us old guys will remember, Horn and Hard Automat. Anybody remember it? Yeah. It was an automat which food was displayed in little windows, and you would put change in the slots, and the window would open, you'd take the food you want. Well, his mother and father took him there one time, Murray. He was 9 or 10 years old, and gave him some change and said, Murray, walk around and get what you want, and we'll meet you at the table. And so they walked around, and they came back later, and here was Murray sitting at the table. He had about 7 slices of apple pie. And the mother said to him, Murray, what's all this? He said, Mom, am I lucky? Every time I put a dime in the machine, I win a piece of apple pie. That's where Murray learned how to gamble. Okay, Murray, may you live a long and healthy life. May you enjoy golf. May you whack the heck out of Callaway balls. And if you need more balls, come to me, and I'll provide you with all. He's got more Callaway balls than I have money. And I want to tell you, you have a wonderful family, and they all adore you. If I said I adore you, they might think I'm gay. Thank you.
I don't know if I should say anything after all this. But I do want to thank all of you for coming. It's been wonderful. I'll never forget it.
And in 10 years from now, we can repeat the procedure.
All right.
What can I say? Look, really, I mean, everything has been said. The only thing I can say is that we're missing a few people. A few of my good buddies are no longer here, and I wish they were here. My wonderful wife is no longer here. Whether she's on the left or whether she's on the right, whether she's upstairs or downstairs, I know that she's taking care of me and watching over me. And one of these days, whether in form or fashion, I'll join her. I hope it's not too soon, but again, I want to thank you. I want you to eat your dessert, drink your coffee, have a good time, and I know you're not going to forget this party. And I want to thank my daughter and my son and everybody my grandson, everybody that participated in making this such a wonderful party that it was. Thanks again for coming.